Hello, hello. Good here. I wonder how I can make. Ooh, it's gonna flip with me, right? Nope. It's all right. A few adjustments. Maybe a tissue box. Hello. Aha. That's not bad. You can always force whatever you want. Like we started there, I think we started. Oh, started in C dominant, I guess. But then I just considered it to be major, and considered A to be the relative minor, and so I rode those similar notes until A was in your ears, and then I quickly forced you to hear a resolution in B. Because if you think about this as being dominant as well, for just a second, you can hear A as major, right? And then B is your home inevitably, right? But I did that, and then I forced, which is funny, C sharp. So I brought us back to a key that it was exactly half step away from where we started, but it didn't seem like it was off, which is the goal, I think. I struggle with that lick, man. I think I understand how long it's been that I've been trying to get my guitar to do what it's doing right now, which is take exuberant whammy bar usage while also staying in tune. And I figured out, I think, the culprit, which was the bridge itself, but it's seated very well right now. I went completely back through it, pulled everything off, reset the action, and did it with this. I used to just completely throw it off, but now it keeps it pretty well in center. And even if it doesn't, let's say it comes back a little bit further back, a little bit sharp, the tiniest little move on this, and it's right back in a perfect tune. So it's like I'm not gonna be mad about that. if it comes back a little out of tune, like, so this has been, I haven't tuned this in literal days, and I had it in the case on, I think, Tuesday when I came here. Played it here all day Tuesday. You know, this is like in the case. Actually, I played it that morning, of course. I wake up and play guitar every morning. And then inevitably, I play it all day here, and then put it back in the case, take it home, and then take it out at home and play it a lot too, as I always do. But then also in the case, I'm using the DiMarzio strap locks, so they have a tendency to bump into the tuning keys down here quite a bit while in transit. So I think that's the only thing that's really giving me any sort of like movement here. Which is not much. I'm just being very picky right now. Just because, well, it's nice to be able to. I also made this concoction of graphite from a pencil and WD-40, like mix it all up together in like a rosin, and then put it in the, it's the same thing, I can't remember his name now, he's like the guy, I think he's the head of the custom shop at Fender, but he talked about doing something like that, and taking a string and working it through the string to really have the best application. And it took a while for it to admittedly work very well, but here we are, it's working great. You know, what we could talk about is Jeff Loomis's Requiem for the Living. It's a crazy difficult thing to play, and I say that because it's combining alternate picking and arpeggio in like sweeps, which generally, in my opinion, is kind of the hardest and most intricate music has a mix of both of those things. And a good example would be what I was just playing there, Paganini's 24th, right? Now this obviously is not doing sweeps on the violin or the piano, you know, but as far as us as guitarists are concerned, we have to use the techniques and tools that we are provided, and I think the goal is to as closely as possible achieve that sound that we're hearing and what is written on the paper and implied for the piece that's written. And for us as guitar players, sweeping or string skips, depending on. So I think it would be tough to string skip your way around some of those notes in that passage. Having this maybe there or something, right? But it sounds completely different. This sounds very particular, right? If I can play it right. And so I seek out songs that are like that, and this one, Requiem for a Living, just so happens to be one that's just like that. And it's very difficult. I think it's just all pretty much like big E. Is it maybe it has like a Phrygian part to it, and then it does two major scales, a parallel, or I'm sorry, a flat five, a tritone away from each other, which is really cool. And the way that he combines them, he's still just doing pretty much, or what did sorry, that's what it is. So like you're doing like a. Sounds really cool, but it's just two major scales, a tritone away from each other, but it has this eerie thing to it while also being very happy, and I'm super attracted to a lot of the sounds that are in this. So the first arpeggio is very tricky because he goes halfway up it. It's a wide interval arpeggio anyways, but he goes halfway up it, comes back down, and then goes all the way up it and comes back down like this. Right, so this is a very tough one. It's very easy to be sloppy with because we're trying to sweep all 6 strings eventually. And we have a hammer on pull off. Now this little part at the end here, right? Sorry. You have to go all the way down to the A here. Like that, and then we are right back up with this really cool diminished lick. Sorry. So it's a cool pattern, but it's just standard, and you'll see this happen a lot in this song, and in the wild, as it were, right? This can easily be turned into 3 notes per string with this wide stretch here, right? And you can get off anywhere, right? All of these notes can start the Yngwie thing, right? Which means that we can do our like Te Muminasari or Mario kind of thing here. But instead we're going to do, so you can get the alternate picking in there, which I think is really cool. Sorry. The fifth, if you can't tell, this is the toughest one. 5 to 9, I'm sorry, 5 to 8 to 11. It's a pretty big stretch. That's the like the 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Sorry. It's the same thing as Yngwie, where he'll do like a lick like that. What's that? You know, he starts it with 3 notes there, and then plays the same thing, which flips the picking around, right? So you, as a discerning two-way pick slanter, should be able to know what's your more comfortable pick slant to use and utilize it. So for me, it's starting on an upstroke. I like to go. I have to rely on a hammer-on if I do a downstroke. If I do an upstroke, I can catch that new string on an upstroke every time. Right? I were doing the 5th verse. Spoiler alert, that's the next one coming up. Sorry, here we go. Whole thing. From the beginning, again, starting with this long arpeggio. All the way down to A, big, wide interval, diminished stretch. Starting with an upstroke, picking every note, 3 first, and then 4s. 1 2 3 1 2. Sorry, 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. All right, and we're playing just a big A major arpeggio here, right? Like that, and then we're back to our diminished shape, except for it's a step up now. What I mean by that is, the guitar is a very easy to see layout wise, right? And I don't mean, people would normally give that moniker to the piano. And don't get me wrong, it's all there in front of you, right? But on guitar, as far as categorizing these things, it's very nice to categorize these things. Categorize them as being the next step of the same thing we just did. All we have to do is go to that second note and play that same shape that we just did again, especially in diminished, right? In diminished, the way they stack thirds in diminished and the way that diminished shape lays out all across the fretboard, it's the same shape 4 frets away from each other every time. Right? And it stands to reason that it would be the same thing when we switch to doing the 3-note per string stuff, because we're just playing notes from each one of these. Right? That's all we're doing here. Up to the second, and then back down to the same lick here. And we're gonna end it, sorry, up here like that. So that whole little first part right there, yeah. This part itself is probably the most tricky, and I wouldn't say least fun part, but it is what I would say is like the, hey, let me put my foot on the monitor and my chin on my guitar and really try to get this thing laid out here. So just be warned. Oops. That's so hard, man. So when we get to this part, ending it up there, and then we're into the main part here, which is, I think, the coolest part. We're gonna, as you see here, I'm gonna go to the major 7 down here. As soon as we start doing that, like, so this is pretty much just our main. I'm sure if you've ever played guitar, you've obviously seen this shape, and this probably, as it was for me, the first shape that I ever learned how to sweep. And for me, the best way to do this is a down, pull, oh wait. Yeah, down, pull, up, down, down, down. And then I'm just up, pull, down, up, pull, up, down, down, down. So for the song though, so this little part, then we're gonna follow by a big major arpeggio on B, and then we're back to our diminished shapes. Let me do the whole thing again. Oh my gosh. That's what it is. Anyways, oh my gosh. I'll come back and once I get that down pat, it's been a while since I played it, and I'm realizing that, and I'm really struggling with it here, remembering where the next one's going to be. Yeah, I think that's where it is every time. I think it's going to start like that. But anyways, I'll show you what I think is the coolest part. I know I said that part was like the main part and stuff, but this is a really cool concept here to put two major things, a parallel fifth away from, or parallel fifth, geez, a tritone away from each other, a flat five away from each other. And the reason why is because you still are going to hear like a, but it's going to be very masked by a happy major sound, right? So what we're doing here is a it's got this like a whole thing going on, which is an attractive thing for me because it reminds me instantly every time of The Simpsons, and who doesn't like The Simpsons? So this is what the lick is itself. Okay, nice and slow. And then all the way back down. Like that, right? So this is one of those ones where the feeling is like smooth, 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 smooth. So the we're nice and easy here, right? Maybe that shit to be a little tough at first, but I would suggest just putting that into a metronome for a little bit, just that part coming up and finishing all the way up here, which is our next, which is where we need to get to next. So oops. It's hard to play slow. I don't know why. But the riff itself sounds really cool if you get it up to speed. It's very difficult though. So like that. So tough, man. But check that one out. And and I suck, man. I'm not a sweeping guy. I'm a string skip. I like doing like the more like rhythmically based stuff. So I don't find myself doing sweeps too often unless it's involving things like this, like classical pieces. I guess I could show you one more cool sweeping thing, which is funny that I'm showing sweeping things right now because I'm definitely not a sweeping guy. But the reason why is it's a weak spot in my game. So another good one is Paganini's 24th Caprice, where there is the arpeggio section, which is a really nice one, and it has a challenging way to kind of play these things. Which you could do, the violin would go right, but I think I like the slide. If I can play it right, sorry. Sorry. All right, so this part, sorry. Yep, so I forgot I actually changed this up a little bit, which is why I'm messing up. It's making more sense now. That's how we're gonna play it. So big major arpeggio here, which is pretty much standard Jason Becker, right? That same kind of thing. And then we're gonna come up and play a minor scale here, a D minor arpeggio, and then back down in the same kind of shape, and then back up. Let me think here. The same kind of thing, exactly, in C, and then we have our the standard thing. But the arpeggio section is what we're focusing on here, right? Sorry. All right, I think that's pretty succinct. I guess you can just slow that down a little bit if you want to. I don't know if there's gonna be anybody that pops in here, but I appreciate you watching. If you're watching this back, I did not I'm not a sweet guy. Maybe I'll show you guys some other stuff that's more kind of my speed. I've been working on various other things, but mainly for me, I've been really enjoying. I got an orange amp, and I've been enjoying, like, this definitely has more of like a Marshall-y kind of like a ha kind of thing going on. The orange for me just takes everything and spreads it out in this even way. It's like the orange still can have this sound, it still has this living in there, but there's just so much more to it, and it's more spread out. So like hitting chords and just like having them ring out, it does this thing. So this obviously is just a little Vox. This doesn't do it, but I've been writing more stuff like that than anything. Not really working on my technique stuff, but the stuff I have been working on is just generally trying to work on the same kind of thing, single note stuff while alternate picking. Oops. Here's a cool lick for you. Yeah. Oops. Oh, I can't even play right now. Oh, that's it. That's so hard. I forgot that's exactly what it is, isn't it? Damn, dude. This is... very tough. The next time you do it, it's got to be which is tough stuff, right? Sorry. That's a cool piece. I could post the tab for that. I've worked one out. The fun thing is doing the tab though, right? Like like I would suggest going and trying to look at the sheet music and decipher yourself what's happening. Like once you figure out what one note is, all you have to do is just think in intervals from there on out. It maps out pretty easy on the guitar. You know, as long as you're willing to do the work, and it kind of, you go on autopilot at some point. And generally, you can even import sheet music into some of these guitar programs, and you just have to go back and correct the little mistakes it's made. And as long as you're, you know, being kind of a detective about it, it's pretty simple to do it. You can fill all the holes in. But then you have the choice as the discerning guitar player to you know, decide what to use and where to do it and everything like that. Like an example would be. Like if you, maybe you don't want to play that there, I would play it. That's exactly where I play it, because it's really easy to get this nice arpeggio at the end of that there, which is a big dominant, big B dominant thing. And it's right. People are afraid of using the B string though, you know, in that change. So what they do is they come down here and play down here, right? Which is fine, you know. There's timbre differences, but you're doing what the sheet music is calling for. That being said, it's up to you again to decide where you want to play it, what sounds best, what feels best. And in these situations, that's the most fun part about it. So I don't really want to post a tab and just be like, hey, here's all this work, you know. And it's not that big of a deal if I do that. I don't mind doing that, but I think that that's the work that should be done because it's fun, frankly. And if you're not into that, then you might not be into you know, the intricacies of what we're talking about in the first place. You kind of have to be into one to lead you into the other, I think. I always mix those two up. Huh? Let's work on something else, man. It's tough when you have everybody in here prompting you or anything. I'm trying to think about the things I've been working on, tougher stuff, cool stuff. I can show an easy one too. I never show easy stuff. I've been meaning to. How about let's talk about Sunshine of Your Love and thinking pentatonically with it, right? There's an important thing with Sunshine of Your Love, and I think it's the most attractive thing about the song, and that is that they're going through the flat five, right? And while it is inherently bluesy, it's not a very bluesy place to see the flat five, right? Usually a bluesy place would be like right, having that, like, we're not really focusing on it there, right? Right? However, in Sunshine of My Love, you know what's funny is, I would say the major third is more implied there than the minor third, right? If I played like a... however you want to play it. You can play it up here too if you want to. It's the same thing as doing this, right? I would say if I did this, it sounds fine, but what you really hear is a dominant thing, a blues thing with that minor 7, right? Because obviously he's chosen the minor 7 and given it to you as a third note in the song from the very beginning, so you can expect that minor 7 to be a main thing, right? It's not, right, which would change the whole feel of the song and make it quite different, right? Now, again, I have insider information here, and I know he plays Hendrix chords for the next part, right? In this case, I would implore again the discerning guitar player to see the notes, the scales that we're playing, right? Because this is going to help us with our lead stuff, right? But it's not important to just see these notes that we have here. You know, it is important to know them, but it's important to not just see them. We want to see the connecting tissue here, which is our minor triad. Right? I can make a much more convincing lead based on the fact that I know inherently I have a minor third, and a flat 5 right there at my fingertips. And then I can make the decision of am I thinking about that major third right now or that minor third? And it's one note. Once I have this mapped out, I can come up with other licks that are going to be more adherent to the song. Right? And that's kind of the goal here. And then when I come to another song that maybe uses more of a minor third and doesn't use a flat 5, I can still see my minor triad here and make these decisions the same way, right? And I can use them for other things as well. Now, that being said, let's think about this pentatonically like this. Now, this lick I'm going to show you, I would say, is kind of based off of Emil Wurstler, which if you don't know who Emil Wurstler is, he is like an OG of terrifying guitar playing. And he's somebody who's kind of gone under the radar in recent years. He plays for PRS still. I think he still does, right? But he's somebody who, in his more recent things I've seen from him, isn't really doing the fast stuff anymore. He's really got some really great jazz stuff going, which is really great. He plays more of the, it used to be like crazy shred stuff for him, right? And he said something one time that really stuck with me, which was, what are you going to do, man? Play 3-note per string scales better than Paul Gilbert? No, you're not. Do your own thing. And I was like, damn, dude, he's so right. And what he does is he combines something like that, right? Which is going to combine 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 and 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually do 1 and 4, right? And it's inherently bluesy, right? You can see me trying to bend towards the major third. I'm using the tritone there, and the lick that lives within this, of course, would be let's start from minor 7 in all these shapes, right? Which we could easily just start from 1 in our ring finger, but we'll start from minor 7, which is always going to live back here, right? Same thing next octave. Same thing next octave. Now, again, it would be apparent. You really need to know your minor triad shapes in your octaves to be comfortable with this, right? The reason why I say that is here is my minor 7 lives right here below my minor third, right? And my 5 lives right here. My flat 5, I'm sorry, my 4 lives right here. My flat 5 lives right here, and then my 5 lives right here, right? That's kind of the whole point of this, is seeing this power chord shape with a minor third back here, is letting you see all these notes and which ones we're going to grab at the time. For right now, minor 7, 1, minor 3, 4, flat 5, 5 in every octave. My hand wants to go off on our improv stuff. Even right there. It's so hard to keep it from doing that, actually. I can't play it straight. I still want to go and just run off with it. Right? So anyways, as I digress here, back to the song at hand. right? This little lick here fits perfectly in with these other things that we're doing. So main riff here, that's all we're doing. This note, we've moved to here. Same note. Sorry. It's the same note if you play the same note. But it's the same note here, right? So you could go to get that nice slide in, but you can still go like or yeah. It's just tough to do. I would say this is much better. Of course. A, C, and G, easy stuff, right? But when you come back to the lead part, of course we have this. You know, something along those lines. And all I'm doing there is just saying to myself, maybe I'll play some major notes here. Maybe I'll play some minor notes here. You saw I went down to the relative minor, which is funny enough, that's where I play my major notes, right? I'm thinking of this as being my major, right? But I'm also playing minor notes here. And then this is my relative minor, but this is where I have my main major. Around that kind of major scale right there. That's kind of what you know. Even if you throw this little shape, which is usually your flat 5, it's not here. It's going through 1, 2, and 3, right, in our minor shape. 1, 2, and flat 3 instead, right? So you're just playing a minor third, going back down to 1, which is nice too. But my point in telling you this is you yourself are choosing the notes that you want to play at the time. It's just using these two shapes to pick out what you want. So in this case, you heard me at the beginning. Which sounds very minor to me. And then, of course, same lick. Oh, sorry. It's extremely minor. Minor third, 1, and I'm going to 4, and that's it, right? Now down here, I'm going to 1, right? Right? Which to me, that's the major, the bluesy major sound. Not that you can't get major here too. My point is, to see all these things, it's important to just take a couple licks that map the fretboard out around them, all right? So here's the lick. Right? So maybe when we come back in for the solo after our... There you go. Okay. I'll probably talk about one more thing, and then we'll get off. Let's talk about Hendrix. Let's talk about two things with Hendrix. He's got a song with Band of Gypsies called Power of Soul that is life-changing if you've never heard it before. It's the best I've ever heard him play, and it's the most interesting I've ever heard him play. Now, of course, this is... I guess most interesting I've ever heard him play would probably be... Axis Bold as Love, but of course we're living in a world where I've heard that song a million times, right? So I'm looking for new things, and then John Mayer, I'd heard the lick before. That's the funny thing, and then I actually went and listened to the live version of the song, and it's just so killing, man. And then it's almost like the Funk 49 thing, because then he comes with this. The cool thing is too is these two riffs are very outside of what I would expect from him, given mostly his like would be a good example, like he's kind of like a what's Red House? Red House is or he's a very like bluesy, singy kind of guy with his leads, right? But it seems to me here he's like combining rhythm and lead in this way that is like very attractive, right? Because this is not just a like a rhythm thing, and it's definitely not it's not like a lead thing, right? It's more of a both. And I think you see this in a couple other places he's playing, but not really as good as he does it here, in my opinion. I think you see it in. Oh, that's it. Sorry. So this is in that part right there. You know, I figured this song out as a 16-year-old sitting on the edge of my bed, listening to my CD of Are You Experienced, and thinking to myself, is he really playing major shapes just like Paul Gilbert? That's what I was thinking, because he's got, which is the same thing I was going through with Paul Gilbert stuff, is trying to find my major and minor triads in whatever given key to map my fretboard out and then choose notes around it, right? So this lick is a very familiar one with me, and so to hear him playing 1 3 5 1 3 5, that to me I can hear. I could hear that for sure in my head, even at 16 with very limited guitar skills. And it's interesting too, because if you listen to the recording, which I've gone back and done, you can hear that for sure. Right? And to me, this was the better lesson for me, right? To figure out that, you know, therein lies my 1 3 5, there, major or minor, whatever I want. There it is, and there it lives, right? And I have single note stuff in a rhythmic section here, right? And again, this is kind of outside of the realm for most Hendrix stuff, and I always was just like, man, that does not seem like a thing Hendrix would write, right? But of course he's. That's what he's doing instead, right? But even there, him doing this is right up his wheelhouse. Him doing something like that's so funky. That's so funky. He's stepping outside of the realm of the normal bluesy stuff, and it's really cool to hear. But those are the two main riffs I would say that are from it. And I play this one different. He goes, right, but I like that little like a. I'm not even positive what I'm doing. It's just like a thing that came out of me as I was playing it. Let me actually rehear it to make sure I'm not telling you a lie here. And of course it's a half step low, so just be prepared for that. There it is. This little part to me is so cool because it's not really letting you hear the root, because we don't want to hear that really. We're gonna 5/5, right? Oh, it's not 5/5 technically, right? So we're just going down a whole step, right? And we're taking to straight blues. Right? Which is a really cool one. All right, I guess that's all I'm gonna show today. I appreciate you guys watching and hanging out. I think let's see. There we go. And all right. I hope you guys have a great one, and I will see you guys next time. I'll put this up so you guys can go back to this video if you want to, and then if somebody's watching this back, thank you for making it this far in the video, as I sit here and borderline aimlessly ramble. If there's any questions or anything that I can do or anything. Hey, what's up, man? You came in right when I was saying I was getting off. That kind of stinks, dude. I feel like that always happens. I could answer a question or something if you have any questions or anything. You're working on your own guitar playing and stuff. I'd be more than happy to help you out. Yeah, not me. You must be talking about Paul Gilbert or Yngwie Malmsteen, right? There's that. Here, how about this? I'll give you that lick. We'll do an Yngwie lick, right? To end the lesson, okay? The tough part about this lick is you have to rely on your pinky every time, right? We're not going, which would be much easier to have our first finger play every note of the minor scale, right? Which is all we're really doing. Instead, we have to go on the third note of the minor scale every time. Really out right now because we're playing it so slow, but we want to hear that resolution. So we have right? We have that sort of like a right? Trying to force that that cadence there. So now the important thing is we're going to start with our pinky. And I missed the last note, of course. Maybe we'll bend up to it, right? But this, again, alternate picking everything. Right? All right. Now I'm going to get off. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Yeah, I think that's it. Leave questions below, comments, concerns, things I can work on. Definitely Recommend for the Living by Jeff Loomis, because I absolutely suck at it. That's so hard. Trying to get that to sound smooth is so difficult. I don't need to tell you why that's so difficult. So difficult. Okay, you guys have a good one. I'll see you next time.